Hi guys, welcome back to So Crafty Nana. My name is Teresa and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And today I have a technique for you. I'm calling it layered card fronts, but essentially what I'm talking about is using shapes. Whether it's punches or dies or just simply your paper trimmer, using shapes to create your complete card front. So, and pattern papers, or if you choose to do that. So here's a card that I created. I'll just let you see that. And this is the one that we're going to recreate. And here's the inside. And so I used a new product for this one. It's called Perennial Postage. It's coming out January 4th. So either by the time you see this video, it'll be out, or very soon after it'll be out. So I took a little bit of time off through the holidays. So you're getting this video right after the new year. So Happy New Year to everyone. I hope you took some time to spend with those that you love and get some downtime through the holidays. I sure did, and it really refreshes me. So I do want to go ahead and spend a lot of time on my desk. So we're going to go ahead and go down to the desk. I do want to just remind you, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I really, truly appreciate it. If you want to see more of my videos, please hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, and then you'll be notified when I do post. I plan to get back to posting once a week now that the holidays are over. And I have some upcoming new products to show you and to create some cards with. I have some birthdays coming up, and then of course we have Valentine's Day. So lots of new things coming up. I'm also doing some scrapbooking, so I may punch some of that in there as well. We'll see how things go. So I'm going to take you down to the desk. Let's get started, and I'll show you some of what I've been thinking about through this break in my crazy little head. Okay, so I am trying the new Stampin' Up! Glass Mat Studio, which demonstrators were able to pre-order. I know that you've got a little bit of glare from my lights on there, so we're going to see how this goes in the video. Hopefully it'll work out, and once I get some things on the table, you won't notice that glare so much. So first off, let me just talk about dies. So I have the deckled circle dies. Any layering dies would be great for what we're going to talk about today. So there's the stylish shaped dies, or there's just tons and tons of dies out there. Anything that has different sizes is a great option for what I'm going to show you today. So that's one. But punches is another option. So let me show you. Let me move some things out of the way here. Let me show you what I have here. So this is using the modern oval punch. And what I did was I took my scrap bin of designer series paper, and I pulled out anything that was similar to this shade. So I'm looking at card bases in Pool Party, Lost Lagoon, and Pretty Peacock. So something along that. These are just some scraps. They're not actual card bases. But I was just looking at those colors. And so I started here with some of these, and some of these were just little scraps, strips. And so I literally couldn't even cut the whole punch. So I just cut pieces like that, because those can go along a card front, or they can be layered underneath another oval where you wouldn't even notice that it wasn't a complete oval. So so I started out with those kinds of things. I had some really pretty papers, you know, the glittery and shimmer paper. I had some of these that, you know, if you reverse the sides, you get two different designs. So there were some designs that I had. And again, I just punched whatever I could get out of my scraps. These are some old papers. This was a piece of cardstock scrap that I had, cardstock scrap. And I had stamped it with a marigold stamp that we used to have, and it was just a scrap in my bin. So I cut out an oval, and that would look beautiful, you know, popped up over some of these other patterns. Some of these papers are really old. They were at the bottom of my bin, but there's one that's Pretty Peacock. There's some of these that are like an ombre, where the paper was sort of an ombre. So you can get some very different looking pieces from one, this was one strip of paper. So there's some, this was just, I had one little scrap, so there's a little scrap of that one, which would be pretty. So here's another one that was an ombre that went all the way from this to almost white. So I got several ombre strips out of that one. So then I got to some papers where the reverse side was this beautiful Calypso coral or petal pink. So I thought, well, why not bring those card bases in? And that opens up a whole new world. These patterns still look beautiful on these card bases, but then I could also add some of these reverse sides. So there was this one that had this reverse side, and this one that had this reverse side. So I could add both of those. This one, if I really wanted to bring in vanilla, so maybe a card base that was vanilla, and then maybe one of these as a layer, this would be a beautiful focal point on that. And then that's the reverse side of it. So I just wanted to give you some ideas. Like, these are all just scraps I had, and I just cut out whatever I could get from the modern oval punch for those scraps, and I could do a number of card fronts in different, and they would look totally different depending on whether I brought in the coral and petal pink or just left them in the blue-green color code, what do I want to say? Color family. That's what I want to say. So then I started thinking, well, what about if you don't have any stamps, you don't have any, or I'm sorry, punches, you don't have any punches, you don't have any dies, what could you do? So I started looking at my scraps, and I had some of these scraps from a card front that I had done, and I thought, well, what about triangles? So I pulled out all of the scraps that I had that were in sort of this brownie color family. So my color bases I pulled out here are copper clay, Cajun craze, pecan pie, and crumb cake. But you could, you wouldn't have to stick with these. But look at that. I mean, that would go great on any of those. And I happen to have one big scrap of that. I have some wood grain scraps. Some of these, the other side is okay to use, so I could use that one either side. The same with this gingham, I could use that on either side. So some of them were versatile like that. Other ones weren't. There's one that I could use either side. I had this one. So those are two sides of that. But, this one I wouldn't be able to. But look at that. That looks beautiful. So if you put that on one of those. So this is just a paper trimmer. You could do it with a scissors if you wanted to. So you don't have to have fancy equipment to make a beautiful card front. And I will make these up, or I'll at least make up one of each of these and add it to my blog post. As soon as I have them finished, I'll just add it into the blog post that's linked down below. Now, a couple of other ones I wanted to show you. I don't actually have the cards here, but I made them and I sent them. So I'm going to pop a picture up here of one that I did with hexagons. This was one hexagon die, so they're all the same shape, and I just did it in a linear formation, cutting it out of different designer series papers. And I think it turned out beautiful, and I sent it out to someone. Then here's another one I'll pop up here on the screen. This is with circles. And again, this one I just did different size circles. But one thing with this one is you'll notice there's a lot of open background space. So that's another option. I just used some dimension to lift up some of the circles, and that was really it. Super simple, super fast, and easy to do. Some other things that you could do, let me pull this over. Here's a cloud punch. So this is a cloud punch. You could make one with clouds. Just punch it out of different colored cardstock, different colored papers. That would make a beautiful card front. You can also take your punches that give you different tag ends, and these are two of the ones that I have. This is the Happy Labels punch and the Banners Pick a Punch. I don't think Happy Labels is still available. I'm not positive about that. But these are just 2 punches where you can use 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, or 1 inch strips, and you just stick them in there and it cuts the end. So you could even just do something with strips of paper and just angle the ends in one of these ways or 2 of these ways and make a card front that way. So there's tons and tons of ideas with shapes. There's so many shapes out there. So I just want you to start thinking about, you know, what you could do for a card front that would be something different, something super quick and easy, and you're going to see how quick this goes together. Once you get the shapes, it's really quick. Now this is a substantial card because I did use a lot of layers and I did use dimensionals. You don't have to use that many layers. It's totally up to you. And I also chose to use the stencil to cut the inside, or I'm sorry, a die to cut the inside. So let me show you the stamp set that I used for this. This is the bundle that I have, perennial postage. It comes out on January the 4th. For Stampin' Up. It's a new bundle, and these are the stamps. They're sentiment stamps, and look at these amazing dies. I fell in love with this set as soon as I saw it. I was actually able to get it in November because I attended an event for Stampin' Up demonstrators, but it's just beautiful. So you've got squares you could use, you've got rectangles you could use, and it even has this cute little label there. Now I haven't used on this card, I haven't used the little cancellation thing yet, but I will on a future card. There's some really awesome product coming up that I'll show you, and I'll be using that. And then the sentiments on here, I did use the I can't thank you enough on this particular card on the inside, but you know, you could use any sentiments that you wanted if you're using a different bundle of dies. So this is the one that I used. Now these flowers are actually fussy cut out of a celebration paper that we can get. It's called Softly Stippled. Is that what it's called? Softly Stippled. Sorry, I didn't have that one ready. So this is the paper pack. I'm not going to go through, I know that there have been a lot of demonstrators that have shown you all of the papers. I actually have 2 packs of this because I love it. I just think it's gorgeous. And I just fussy cut these roses out of here for the front of my card. Again, you don't have to do that. You could just do the shapes. That's totally up to you. So let me stick that back out of my way. And then also a celebration item that I got is this Softly Stippled bundle. This is free with a $100 purchase. It's a free option with a $100 purchase starting on January 4th from Stampin' Up. So you get the beautiful embossing folder. Actually, you can probably see the best there. That's probably going to give you the best idea what that embossing looks like. And I'll show it to you here on cardstock, if you can see that. Yeah, I think that's showing up. Isn't that beautiful? So I had to use that one. So that's a beautiful embossing folder. And then this is the stamp set that comes with it. It comes as a bundle. So if you purchase $100, you get both of these items, or you can choose both of these items free. Now I didn't use any of these stamps, although any of the florals. I just used the hello there on the front of my card. So I wanted to show you that. So those are the only items that I used on this card. As far as cutting and stamping, I used Pebbled Path as my ink color, and that's what I used for this background layer, and that's one of the colors in the Softly Stippled paper. And then I used these 2023 to 2025 in color dots. These are some of my favorite dots, but I hadn't used many of the Pebbled Path, so that's what I used on this one as well. I just tucked a few in there, not a lot. I felt like it had a lot going on, but it just needed some dark spots in there. So I'll show you how to make this card. Let me clear everything away from my desk and we'll be right back. All right, so I've got my bits and pieces all in little trays here. I went ahead and I just cut out a bunch of the florals. since I was fussy cutting, and I just cut a whole bunch of these shapes in the different paper colors that go with this family. So I wanted everything to be ready, and then we just pull and play. The card is not going to be exactly this. No two handmade cards are ever exactly alike. So I'll show you how I got started with it, and then we're just going to pick and choose what to stick in there. So what I have first is a pool party base. This is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, just your standard card base. I'm going to go ahead and just burnish that crease. And then I did go ahead, just for time's sake, like I did with all the die cutting, I went ahead and I embossed this pebbled path piece. This piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4, your standard layer piece. And I am going to put this layer on in the standard fashion. And then we'll start layering, and I'll show you how I did things a little bit, you know, kitty wampus and that sort of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this on, and then we're going to add just our first layers, and then we'll dry fit everything else. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus. And since this is an embossed piece and they do sort of curl, I do put a lot of adhesive on. And I'm just going to go ahead and line this up. Oops, not stick it down until it's lined up. That's pretty good. Okay, so there's our base for our card. Now in my little trays, and these trays came from scrapbook.com, by the way. It came in a 4-pack, or actually I think I got a 6-pack because I've got a couple of these somewhere else. So, but anyway, these trays came from scrapbook.com. I think they're out of stock right now. I've been looking to get some more. I love them. They're fantastic for this sort of thing. So this is my inside layer, and I'm not going to put that in yet because we're going to go ahead and do some stamping and decorating. So I'm going to leave that to the side. But this was my next layer that I was going to put down, and you can put it any way you want. Just remember, if you go off your card front, you'll need to trim that at the angle or at the edges. I didn't want to go off my card front, but I did want it to be at an angle. And it can be any, you know, any degree of angle that you want it to be at. And then the next piece, which is this one, I want to put at the opposite angle. Now you could layer them like this, totally up to you. This is really personal preference, and you can go low, you can go high, however you want to layer them is totally up to you. I went with both of these going close to that edge, but not off the edge. And I'm going to put these down flat because I used a lot of dimension in the other layers. So these are going to go down flat. So I'm going to go ahead and put these two down. Uh-oh, am I out? I am out. Stampin' Seal Plus. There we go. Oh no. Does that ever happen to you where it picks up your paper? It happens to me once in 1,000 times, I think. Just get rid of that if I can get it off my finger. No worries because it's underneath. Okay, and we're just going to put this at an angle, but keeping those edges within the card front, so they don't go off the card. Here we go. And then the same with this one. Okay, and I'm gonna go low with this one. On my other one I did kind of high on it, but I'm gonna go towards the bottom on this one and put it like that. So there's our base. Now we're just going to take out all of these little pieces and start trying to build. Now I cut different sizes in all the different colors. So, you know, really it's what you're looking for. I'm not using all of these on here. But here's a bunch of squares and some rectangles, some small squares. So I like to start with some of the larger shapes, so probably this size rectangle and maybe this size square, and then these things get tucked in kind of behind. Got some more over here. So I've got another, this is a big one. This is this size. Okay, let's get them kind of organized. And I've got a few more up there if I want to grab them. Definitely will want one of those out. And I didn't do like one of these, one of those, one of those. I just really did it pleasing to the eye. So I wanted something kind of solid down here. I want some of this color peeking out. I don't want this to be one of my top layers because I am going to put those die cuts or those fussy cut ones there. So I really want to, if I'm going to use these layers, I want to make sure that they're tucked in under the bottom. So I think maybe like that. Or actually I might just use a square one and not use up that. And let's get, and you can use these either direction. So I'm just gonna sort of, I want to get a little bit of this in there at the bottom. Maybe I just want a teeny tag in here at the bottom somewhere, depending on what we put over top. Like, sorry, just thinking, I don't want that on the top. Maybe I do want, maybe I do want that. So then I have to start thinking about where I'm going to put my, I want this up here, where I'm going to put my sentiment, and I do want a nice layer for that sentiment to sit on. So I think that's why I'm going to go with maybe this, and I want an angle somewhere up there. There we go. So this is all personal preference, tucking and all of that. So I might want this to just come down like that. This one up here, this one up a little more. So I really just kind of eyeball it, and I like that layering, that kind of shabby chic-ish kind of layering. I might even want just something to break up this color. There we go, something like that. Okay, so I like that, sort of how that is. And then I'm going to go ahead and start putting some of these layers down. This is going to be where my sentiment is going to live, and that's going to go on top of there. We have to stamp that. So let's go ahead and put, I think, this one up on a dimensional or two. And with these dimensionals, I just kept them towards the middle so that if I wanted to tuck something in, I could tuck it in. Now, you know, that's, again, personal preference, totally up to you on how you want to do that. I just wanted to leave myself options. So I'm going to stick that up there. And I do think I'm just going to put a little adhesive on this one and tuck it in like that. This one I want up on dimensionals. Okay. We're going to put him right here. And I just realized I didn't stick this one down first. So let's see if we can get some Stamp and Seal in there, and we will just stick him down. All right, so now all my layers that are on there are stuck. I think this one's gonna get down flat. That. these are going to be up on dimensionals. Well, this one's not. This one's going to go flat on there. Let's see. Kind of got my, I'm just going to put it low on this one because that's going to get hidden there by this layer. So I do want to put a dimensional up there in that corner, like right here. And then a dimensional down on this corner. And what I'm trying to do is balance out the dimension, because these are up on dimension. I'm going to need dimension there, but I'm not going to need dimension here. So I'm just going to add a little adhesive to those. And oops, didn't take my paper off. Would help. Okay. Rogue. All right. So then we're going to stick that one there. And then the last thing to do is stick this one down. We're going to find out where we want to put our flowers on there. And then we'll do our stamping last and do our insert. So I think this one, I'm just going to put, actually, I think I'm going to put a dimensional up in each of these two corners. I want this to feel flat when I put it down, and I always test it with the paper on there, and see, that feels very nice and flat. I've still got room to tuck if I want to tuck. Now, I do have that dimensional here, but I can tuck in here, I can tuck in through here, so that'll be fine. I think with just two dimensionals sticking that down. And I like having this little bit of gray. We have this little tag hanging out. I think that looks cute. So we're gonna go ahead and place that down. The nice thing about this design is everything doesn't have to be straight. So if you're like me and things don't always end up looking straight, it's okay. So I don't know if I want anything up there because we've got that one. I don't know if I want anything down here. Actually, I might just do one of the larger, not that one, maybe one of the larger florals. Do I want it up here so that it's all floral up there? Nope, I don't like that. I don't want to cover this, but I want to complement it. I think we're gonna have to go with that really small one out of here. Yep, I think we're gonna go with this one. And we're just going to add a little, so we've got it on both corners. I'm just gonna add him down there. And I think that's it. I like having the little bits of floral. I like it's kind of that shape. And then this is gonna go right in the center to say, hello there. We might put a little, may have to fussy cut a little one of these out to put it over the top. Actually, I think I'd like that over the top corner of it. And maybe we don't even need anything down here. Ooh, maybe we do. Just that. Just the buds sticking out. I think I like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and just stick this one, put some adhesive on the bottom of that. And we're gonna just pick this up a little and tuck that in so it's sticking out. And we're gonna hold off on this one until we do our sentiment on there. And then for the inside, on the other one, I had just a small floral that I had cut out. So this one, I don't have a small one, but I could put one of those across the top. I like that. And then I can just put my little sentiment right down here, and that gives me room to write. So we'll go ahead and we'll stamp our sentiments next. So I have them over here. I can't thank you enough. And hello there. And I've got my ink over here. I'm just going to remove some of these things out of the way. Set them out of the way. And then with the glass mat, the instructions say that you can stamp directly on it, but I personally have found that I prefer to still use my Stamp and Pierce mat. So I'm going to go ahead and just use my Stamp and Pierce mat. It gives that extra cushion when you're using this photopolymer stamp. Now on the other one, I won't have to worry about it because it is a cling stamp or a red rubber stamp, but for this one, because it is a photopolymer stamp, I prefer to have the extra cushioning. So I'm going to ink that up. Place that right there. There we go. And this ink lightens up because I know it looks a little bit black. It will lighten up to the Pebbled Path Gray. And then get rid of this. And let's go ahead and stamp this. I'm going to leave this in place just for placement until I'm ready to stamp. Make sure we're all inked. We are. And I'm going to go about right here. Give that a second. There we go. That looks great. And then we'll just add this right up here. That looks pretty. And because this is the inside, we are adding this flat to the inside. Okay. And I want to make sure I keep it within the postage stamp cutout. All right, so we're ready to go ahead and add those. I'm going to add this to the inside. I probably should close that ink before I have an accident. I'll do that next. Now this is going to give me a much bigger border because this die cut is not your standard 4 by 5 1/4 that we would use on the inside, but I'm okay with that. Now, if you're not, what you could do if you wanted to is put a Pebbled Path insert that is 4 by 5 1/4 and then put this die cut on the outside if you're using this stamp set. That would be another option for you. I liked the softness of this, so I left it this way. So let's go ahead and add our hello there. I'm just going to add it flat because we have plenty of dimension already on here. And I'm just going to sort of add it to the right center of that outline. And then we'll just add our floral like that. Now that is going to need dimensionals down here and over here. You notice how I keep my fingers there because I forget, and then I'll put the dimensional in the wrong spot. So I like to make sure that I know exactly where I want to put my dimensionals. Oops. Okay. Take those covers off. I want it to just overlap. And I don't really need any adhesive on that because this is going to stick it down. So there we go. So you can see once you've got those designs or those shapes cut out, pretty quick to put together. And I just think these are really elegant. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to stick our embellishments on there with our Take Your Pick tool. And I like to use the putty end, although these embellishments are really stuck down, so they do take a lot of pushing. I do like the big ones, so I think I'll tuck one right under here just so it peeks out. And maybe we'll put a medium-sized one right in here where it peeks out, and then one more of the medium-sized, whoops, one more of the medium-sized one right up there. I like that. That looks really pretty. All right, so not exactly the same, but definitely a similar vibe of these. Just remember when you're doing any kind of layering, just kind of dry fit it on there. Do what appeals to you. It's a personal preference. So this may not be your cup of tea, but some of those other examples that I gave you may be exactly what you like. So have fun with it, enjoy, use what you have in your pattern paper, cardstock. You could do this with cardstock colors, just shades of the same family of colors. You could do it with a lot of different, you have a lot of different options. If you'd like to see the step-by-step for this, instructions and all of the items that I've used today, it's linked, my blog is linked down in the description. Just go down into the description, click on the link to my blog. It will take you over to my website, the blog post that's created just for this sample. And again, I'll add those additional pictures as soon as I have those additional cards made to give you some other ideas of what this might look like using your shapes or die cuts to create card fronts. Also linked in the description is my Stampin' Up! Store if you're interested. Starting on January 4th is Celebration. So with a $50 purchase from my Stampin' Up! Store, you can choose a free item for each $50. So like I said, that softly stippled embossing folder and stamp set is for $100. So if you have a $100 order, you can choose this as one of your items, or you could choose two $50 items. Beautiful things in there. The paper is in there. That's a $50 item. So many other items in there. So go take a look at that after January 4th and see if there's anything that appeals to you. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Please leave me a comment. Click that like button if you enjoyed this video. Sorry it was maybe a little scrambled. I'm trying to get back into the habit of things, and I will get back into the habit of posting once a week. So if you hit that subscribe button and click that bell, you'll be notified when I post my next video. I think that's all I have for you. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful holiday or had a wonderful holiday, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.